nothing on our Facebook page.
Good afternoon. Thank you for watching Coffee with Kyan. Today is January. Oh goodness, what day is today's date?
13th, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. How can we forget about that?
How did you forget that?
I know, craziness. Yeah, thank you for watching our episode of Coffee with Kyan. Today we're gonna talk about a few different things, and then also I have a special guest with me. Who are you?
I'm Tristan Gracie. As you can tell, my accent is very different to the US.
Tristan, where did you come from?
So I'm from just outside of Manchester in the UK. I've been in Atlanta now for just over a week, about a week and an hour actually. It's been a whirlwind experience, but yeah, settling in nicely.
See who's counting.
Me.
And Tristan actually arrived when Atlanta, or state of Georgia, had our state of emergency, when all the snow apocalypse was coming in actually. So what was your experience like with the winter situation in Georgia?
The weather was fine because I'm used to bad weather, but the fact that everyone promised me sunshine and t-shirts and shorts, and then I got here, it was 7 inches of snow, -7. I thought I'd been lied to, but yeah, it was a good few days anyway, good experience. Hopefully not for a long time now.
Yeah, it's definitely not a typical weather for us. And I think today we're in Atlanta, today's Friday the 13th, a week later we're enjoying a 70-degree Fahrenheit weather.
More like it, definitely.
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. And today we're gonna actually talk about obviously some of the personal experience. I'm just gonna talk about a little bit more cultural experience because take myself for example. I grew up in a different country, born and raised, and then also grew up outside of the Boston area for quite some time too. Went to school in different states, worked in different areas. I think that throughout our professional development, I try bringing that everybody have a different cultural business and differences in background. So Tristan, I know you're here I've been here for a week and an hour, and then potentially embarking on a different journey to the other side of the country of the US. What do you see has been the biggest difference between the UK and the US so far?
I think the biggest difference business-wise for me, I was shocked. I thought I'd come here and I'd be flying straight off the handle, which I have been to an extent. I've settled in pretty well, but it's so in depth, and the candidates want to speak to you more. You want to go into personal lives. It really matters to them that we're calling. Whereas in the UK, it was a little bit more direct and to the point, a lot quicker. Here, you've got to properly introduce yourself to become on a peer-to level and get the understanding from the candidate. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Outside of work, there isn't really that much difference apart from everything's bigger and faster, and there's a lot of food places. That's honest.
We're kind of in a little bit of the capital of the Metro Atlanta area to our office where it's located at. From the conversation you had with people so far, what type of topics, what conversations do you feel like that people are more like to share with you or to engage with you?
Yeah, so people are very, very interested in me. I think that is because of the story I've got and where I've come from. Obviously being British seems to help the cause as well. People want to talk more about themselves, their personal lives, the family, what means a lot to them. And obviously I've noticed because America is so big and relocation situations, that's something you've got to take into account, whereas I haven't done before in the UK. When it comes down to business as well, Americans don't mess around. They're very much to the point in that sense, and they do know the stuff, which it's good to hear.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So at the moment, I'm recruiting for Epic specialists. I'm going to be a team leader heading over to San Diego in June to set up a new office over there, focusing on Epic as my main market, looking to grow new markets off the back of that. I've noticed so far, Epic is humongous. It's going to take a lot of people, including myself, to conquer that market, but I'm sure we can. Looking back to what I did in the UK, it's very similar in the sense it's an EMR. However, it's probably 1,000 times bigger, so a lot to learn.
And obviously within different type of electronic medical record systems, and then I think throughout the country, each organization obviously is a little different from standpoint of for-profit, non-for-profit, or even state-funded organization. I think that obviously changed the behavior mentality so far. So from the companies that you have worked or interact with so far, how do you see the business sense in terms of looking at EMR versus EMR between UK and US? The difference you have felt?
The biggest difference is the size, obviously, of course. The methodologies around that as well. the system I'm working with at the moment, Epic in the US, is 55 modules, whereas back in the UK when I was working with Rio, you're talking 3 or 4, and they're small at that. So to learn all the modules is going to probably be one of the more difficult things. But I like the fact that everything links together a lot more smoother here than it does in the UK. Not to be criticism of the UK, but it is a lot smoother.
Yeah, a lot of time when we talk about the cultural differences is understanding, obviously, that acknowledging the awareness of that there is a cultural difference. I think that's usually a good start, but obviously, over course the time as you digest into the specific what they are, how to decipher them, how to potentially conquer them. I think that, I mean, obviously in a business sense, we always want to make sure that we focus on the win, focus on the results, but it's also very important for us to know how to get there. So, you know, sometimes the first one may be a beginner's luck, but the second one won't come as easy, kind of similar to our methodology too as well. Trying to get you close to your first placement, first deal, and the second and third one, if you do it right consistently, continuously, you'll gain that credibility and close the deal, per se. So, a little bit more about you. So that we haven't talked about you prior to IT Works. So tell us a little bit that you want to share with everybody.
So I started off life as a bit of a, well, not a tearaway, but...
Well, I start with life. Okay, let's talk about life.
That's deep. We could be here a long time. So I started off as a manager at Tesco. I moved from Tesco into a state agency simply because I found myself as a salesperson. I liked interacting with people in regards to helping them out in that sense. I moved from a state agency honestly because I didn't earn enough money for what I was doing. That was my personal opinion. Then I went into IT Works January 2014 I started, and let me say it was a tough 3 months getting used to the whole practice and the way to do things, because this kind of job is like no other kind of job, I can tell you that for a fact. It is 24/7, it's a lifestyle, you've got to be involved all the time, you can never ever switch off. You're always on your phone, as much as people curse me for always being on my phone. I am always on my phone for that reason. And then I did a very, very good job in the UK, as I'm sure hopefully people watching this video will attest to. I've seen the names popping up.
Nice.
Tim.
But shout out to Tim.
But of course, it's I didn't grow out of the UK by all means, but I got the opportunity last June when Gary offered me to come to Atlanta and then on to California, and I couldn't say no. I went to San Diego in December, and it was amazing, and Atlanta's proven to be just as bizarre as San Diego is, so in a good way, of course. But yeah, really enjoying it so far, so good stuff.
Good to hear. And then obviously for quick question actually before we get to the next step is, did IT Works find you or did you find IT Works?
I'd like to say they found me, but yeah, I found them. I went for a rec-to-rec company, which is like recruiters for recruiters back in the UK. I didn't even know what to expect, and I remember Oliver Underwood interviewing me in a boardroom with all the lights dimmed, and I thought, what on earth have I got myself in for? And then he pretty much offered me a job on the spot, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I felt like most people probably felt the same way, how they fell into this. So I think specifically from you, I heard actually from working with you extensively the past 7 days, and also looking at the things that you've done, hearing you talking about the money piece of things. How do you find that just putting out there as potential aspiration for others who may be interested in looking at recruitment? In your personal story, can you share a little bit more about when you first introduced to recruitment first, what it felt like, and also as your career continues, how has that transpired?
I think when I first started, the reason I joined was for money. I'm not going to lie, I'll keep that very straight with everyone. I always say that the reason, it was for money, and I said to myself, there's no other way I could earn as much money as I do here without going to university for 7 years to become a doctor, etc. I just couldn't do it. But then over time, once the money came in, did my life really change? Probably not. I had nicer things and nicer holidays and stuff like that. However, the thing what I enjoyed doing was growing teams and growing contractor numbers and growing relationships. And put it this way, when you're in a good place with relationships in the market, your life is very good. Things don't become as stressful. You're the go-to guy in the market, and it makes things easier, and it's good to enjoy, and it makes that hard work at the beginning worthwhile later down the line. And obviously I've got to start again now in the US, as I've done this week, but 6 months, 12 months down the line, it could be a very pretty picture, I hope.
I really like a lot of things that you did already, and I think you and I went through a lot of really good heart-to-heart sessions
Oh, yeah, we
as
did,
we
yeah.
recognize some
Very,
of the
very
spots.
deep.
And then, kind of using this opportunity to capture on that, what have you found for yourself is in terms of looking at, you thought things that you knew
Yeah.
in the past, and then things you didn't know that was there to the things that you found that's new. I never saw it that way before.
Yeah.
Can you give us some of the example, the new things that you discovered that this is part of Tristan I never experienced before?
I can, indeed, yes. The biggest one for me was some training we did on Tuesday. It was around this is how we work. Now, yes, I did do that in the UK. The majority of the time, obviously later down the line you didn't need to because everyone knew me, but initially I didn't really go into the depth as I have done here on the candidate calls, where I probably should have, if I'm honest. And the training that Kyan provided on Tuesday was, to really get to the bottom of the candidates, find out what they wanted, what's for them, how I can help them, and number one, how they can help me. Back in the UK, it was just how can I help them get a job and move on. I'm looking at then who they can refer to me, references I can get. It's a lot deeper. And another one for me was setting the tone of the conversation at the beginning. So if I was calling someone new who I didn't know, the elevator pitch, for instance, I had many elevator pitches for different situations who I was speaking to, but with this one I use it on brand new calls, clear elevator pitch, straight to the point. They know why I'm calling, they know who I am, they know where I'm from, and they know what I want within 15 seconds.
Wow.
I remembered that. Yeah, so it's going good. I'm good. I'm enjoying it.
It's very interesting that you said that, and I just want to make a clarification because I think speaking for, I don't know enough about the UK or the rest of the world. I can probably hopefully speak to the majority of the American staffing industry is a lot of time is we don't know what we don't know, and also second thing is most recruiters, I'm not saying recruitment consultant, recruiters is we focus on the job that's being provided to us to fill the job. So, and how I now look at it is more of a pigeonhole recruiting or checklist recruiting, because a lot of time we do it really is screening a candidate, and sometimes it really is the nature of the business per se, or it's the nature of how we do things that dictates or we're being managed into that particular environment. But obviously that there's many ways of looking at things, but I think that specific about IT was how we do things is, for those of you who don't know, is we focus on the entire full desk, and the full desk is the entire 360 degree from business development, getting the job on, working with the client, getting the business in, signing a contract, negotiating a contract to sourcing candidates, identifying candidates, interviewing, and then doing the whole 9 yards from the beginning through the end. So I think that in order to accomplish all these, I think that getting down to the bottom of the thing is very, very important.
Yeah, I would say on the back of that as well. I was surprised that the candidates I've spoken to so far, they are surprised at the depth that I'm going to get to know them as a person rather than just as a number. And a couple of them said, I've never had a recruiter phone me until interview stage. So it is quite, it's quite humbling to hear that.
A little pat on the shoulder and also gain your credibility at the same time too. But obviously that in sales always has for leads and referrals. I think that will come out very nicely. So going back a little bit more on the cultural things that, would you say that the candidate you have talked to today, or this week actually, have they been all around the country, or has it been a specific demographic, geographic demographic you have been talking to?
So my initial calls, I did focus when I was working back in the UK and US out, and I focused on Californian candidates, obviously, because I was moving on to California, working the West Coast. But from a lot of LinkedIn posts I've done, I've had people applying for jobs all over the place, and I've noticed that anyone will go anywhere for the right money because why wouldn't they? And that's not something I'm used to, given London's only 5 hours away. I spoke to a guy in New York who was a trainer who wanted to go and work in LA, and it's like another world away in a sense, and there was no restrictions. I'd go back to saying Americans are very open to opportunity. That's how I sum it up straight away.
So, on a personal note, that out of the question I've been asked about candidate, are you willing to relocate? Where would you like to potentially relocate to? If you have named your top 3-5 spots, where would you like to go to? So, out of those locations, I assume that you have been to some of them. Probably, I heard that you were in Southern Cal just a few months ago.
New York as well last year, which was nice, of course.
And I've been to Atlanta.
No, I've been to Atlanta as well. Yeah, I'm getting around.
Good. So I kind of combine everything together just based on the exposure you got to.
Yeah.
What part of the U.S. so far intrigues you?
I thought New York would have been the be-all and end-all of America. Summed it up. Everyone wants to go to New York and live a high life and spend a lot of money, as we did. But when I got to San Diego, it was, they call it America's finest city, and you can see why. It's just a different. I couldn't even believe something like that existed. There was not one person who wasn't smiling. There was sun. I was in there in December, and it was 70 degrees in December. It's just the one bad thing is the traffic, but I think that's everywhere in America because it's like that here as well.
All the metro cities.
Yeah, but number one for me so far is California. I do want to see everywhere, and I will take the opportunity whilst I'm here to get around. But California seems to be the holy grail thus far.
So let's talk a little bit more now on the personal side. I think probably tied to your career aspirations per se. Where do you see yourself now? Obviously, taking the leap of faith to embark on a different journey. When the opportunity was presented to you, can you walk us through what was your mentally, psychologically per se, that to get you prepared to actually physically be here with us today? What has gone through your mind? What type of hoops have you jumped through to come here, to get here?
Well, a lot of my friends and family thought I was in denial from the start because I never really accepted that I was moving away because I didn't act like it was a big deal for me. I think it was a big deal, but I just tried to keep a level head from day one. I remember back in June last year, I had a Skype call with Gary, the CEO, and he offered me the job there and then on Skype. I didn't know it was coming, it was a complete surprise, and he more or less said to me, "Can I have an answer now?" Which
That's
is
very
typical Gary, which is fine, it's fine, that's what I do. Obviously I said yes, and I gave him the handshake over Skype. I remember exactly what I did. I went outside the office back in the UK, and I didn't know whether to shout, cry, jump around. So I just walked back and said to everyone, "I'm leaving. I'm going to the US in January." So
see ya.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, but I think December was the toughest time with the family, especially my mum. Dad's pretty cool about it, mum's cool. They're all coming over in March anyway, so there's no big deal, and we can always get a flight. I'll have to pay for it, of course, but hey ho.
Yeah, we'll talk.
But there's no. It just felt natural to me. It was the next step. I kind of grew out of the UK, and people knew, I was going to be good for America because of my personality and what I like out of work. So, yeah.
Well, time will tell on that one.
Yeah. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah. We'll see.
So from this point on, can you tell us in any interview that I had with a potential candidate person, I'm going to use that on you. Can you tell us a little bit about your goals and aspirations? If you put something potentially
be careful what I say here.
specific, tangible. Obviously that this is a session that's out there online. You may want to go back and review that. To be very honest with yourself, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, if Facebook still exists. So
yeah, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will rule the world. So 6 months between now and the time we leave to go to San Diego. Obviously, I need to establish myself in the Epic market and at least do. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself in that sense, but I'd like to build close to 100,000, which isn't really, if you look at our fees, it's not really that difficult. Hopefully, time will tell. Moving forward from then, my number one goal will be to get a team around me on EMR. Probably 3 to 4 consultants in California, whilst obviously buying my own place out there, leasing my own place. I have a nice car. I've got a nice car. I've got a Mustang on order, so that should be that should be arriving soon.
Okay.
But if you're looking further down the line, I want this. I want my own office with 26 staff, and I want to be Gary Dieter of San Diego in that sense. And then I want, as I said to Tim before I left, I want the CEO title eventually. So you can remember that.
That's some very big goals.
Yeah.
Actually, it's attainable.
Yeah. Well, you've got the tools to do your job here and the people around you, so I don't see why not.
That's exciting. So, on the personal side, is there anything you'd like to do during your time in Atlanta for the next 6 months? Your family coming in March?
Yeah, I've got my friend who actually works for IT Works, Stuart Pritchard. He's coming over in February, so we're going to go to the basketball game. We're going to go to the Braves as well. I think I'll do all the touristy things, like the aquarium is apparently very good, the Coca-Cola factory, Martin Luther King, so much stuff to do, and then I'm going to eat a lot of food as well. I just want to get to know the place, really. It is huge, so it's going to be a lot of driving.
So enjoying time here. One last question from me to you first.
Yeah.
Before I broke that question, do you have anything that you'd like to share with everybody?
Everyone come to America. No, I didn't say that.
Depending on who's paying for the ticket.
Yeah,
where they're staying.
I'd just say, you know, for people out there who do aspire to things, to to get better and better themselves, just keep going. That's all I did. I'm no different to anyone else who's back in the UK or even in the US. I am no different to anyone. I just work hard, learn quick. I might have the gift of the gab, as people say, and I might be able to turn candidates quickly and make relationships, which is fine because that's the way I do. And I've been doing it for 3 years. But anyone who's in my position for 3 years, everyone's going to be good at the job if they keep working hard. So hard work pays off, literally.
So for anybody, my last question to you is, anybody who aspire or want to get into this particular industry that we're doing what we do, what advice do you have for them?
Do your research should be number one. It's not what you expect. I imagine I'd love to see what someone else thinks looking in at what recruitment is, because it's hard work, it's a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again until you get the result. Like I said, once you've got the relationships in place, you know the clients, you know the candidates, the job does get easier. But you need to enjoy the first bit rather than beating yourself down. You need to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsive is one. I just wouldn't let anything beat you down. You do have negatives. People get dropouts, people get no's. The worst one is no. But you pick yourself back up, and the next day it's a yes, and then everything's good again. So always
have that tenacity.
Yeah. The drive.
Really find through. Mm-hmm. Very cool. And then something I mentioned a lot, I think, to our prospective candidate is a lot of people talk about job versus career. I think in recruitment we probably need to talk about it's much more beyond a career. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
When you actually live it and breathe it, this is part of who you are, and you get to be who you are because we're dealing with people, we're working with people, building relationships to make things happen. So it actually all comes in very nice and bring everything in.
Mm-hmm. It is a career though. It's a long-term career that you can grow in. Anyone can do it. I say anyone. That's a test, but most people can.
And make sure it's for you.
Yeah,
and that's very important. Obviously, the research. Tristan said that it had to make sense for you, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're hiring here. And then any question you have, please contact me, Coffee with Kyan. And I want to thank Tristan for spending time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're looking forward to what beautiful things you're going to do. I already see a lot of really amazing sparks.
No, thank you. Everyone keeps saying that. We'll see.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.